Let's do it.
Oh, let me get my little notes here.
Do the damn thing.
All right.
What's my name? What's my name?
October document opening up. All right. I think everything's recording. Cool. Unplug this. All right, here we go.
There you go.
Here we go. Let me move my thing. Thank you. I need all my stuff. This is like official, guys. This is the League of the Greats.
That's what I heard. I heard that this was a very official phone or Zoom call. It's very official.
When we look back, it'll be good.
Like Sandusky sent money for snacks.
I know, but
I mean, too bad it was just like the shittiest snacks.
They're all it's all circus peanuts.
It's circus peanuts and knockoff checks.
Jacks.
Better than nothing.
Jacks. Man.
All right. Welcome to the League of the Greats, the official film fantasy league brought to you by the Greatest Movies of All Time podcast. And we're at the end of the draft. Ladies and gentlemen, we've made it, but we're about to enter some postseason play. We have some business. This isn't the final day. This is more of a check-in at this point, a regrouping. We're entering extra innings and expanded roster play.
It's a supplementary draft.
Is that what they call it in the draft world?
We got some injured players who couldn't show up, couldn't field a full team, so we need a supplementary draft to make sure we have enough players so that everyone has the same number of scores.
That's right. Yeah. So, this has been unpredictable year with the movie release schedule. We knew that going into March. The season was supposed to run from March to the end of August. This is officially September 1st. Though we're operating without interns these days, the plan is to get this podcast in your ears. Hopefully this is September 2nd or September 3rd. Like I said, we're an internless podcast these days, but we're getting there as we get into extra innings for our draft. Some movies, as Gabriel said, did not get released. So we're going to do some pickups for the month of September, and then we're going to introduce the October postseason extended roster play, the October surprise, all the different baseball analogies you can think of and cliche terms they use. But before we do that, introductions. My name is Jesse. I do this Greatest Movies podcast thing from time to time. That other voice you heard was Gabriel, my partner in crime. Howdy.
I'm here sometimes.
And we have the other members of the league as well. Coming to us from, though we will never mention it, Trevor's podcast, we have JB.
That's right. Hello, everyone. I've missed you.
I know. Welcome back. A familiar face, or voice at least. I know our patrons were happy to see you in the live stream.
It's a nice face. Mm-hmm.
But we're glad we're here. We hope Trevor's podcast is doing well for your sake. But for any other reason, we don't.
I will not pass along that information. Thank you.
We appreciate it. We also have, speaking of our Patreon, our number one Patreon supporter, he won the essay contest to be in part of this first year draft ever. We have Nikki J. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me once again.
We are excited. You've talked a few movies with us as well in the past, and
yeah,
we're here to update your draft, so that's great. And then the final member of our fantasy league this year, a reoccurring guest to the podcast. She hosts a podcast of her own called The Night Before Movie Podcast. Reoccurring guest, Lee. Welcome back.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm happy we got the whole League of the Greats back together. It's been, it really has been since
fun.
February?
Yeah.
It's
February.
Yeah, something. I don't know how time works anymore.
I'll be honest.
We did the Halloween thing. Oh no, for League of the Greats.
See?
Sorry.
No, you're right. See?
I get them all confused.
Time doesn't matter anymore. It's
it
not
doesn't.
real.
It doesn't.
February.
February.
But no, like
weird word.
When we were daydreaming this fantasy film league, and the League of the Greats. And we were setting the March to September timeframe, which I think is the right timeframe, like March through August. It seems right.
Definitely.
But at the time, it felt like there was some worry, like, oh, this is way too long. It's going to drag on forever. I think it kind of swept along quick, and before you knew it, we're here.
Have you been present for this pandemic?
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, we're in a pandemic. Like, movies kind of occupy a lot of people's lives right now. So it goes by kind of quick for everybody.
I mean, some people are just, binge watching all 75 seasons of Friends over again.
That's true.
So it's a way to pass time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shitty way to pass time, but it's there.
Yeah, it's been fun. And that was my initial worry, that it might be too long of a stretch, but we're great. We're good. I mean, JB always blowing up the chat with our patrons here. It's good. It always distracts me. I love it.
Keep them engaged.
But no, so we have a little bit of business to take care of because we just can't let go of this thing, and we're having too much fun. We will do an update of scores shortly and do a check-in with our drafts, and each of us will kind of review what we got. But as we said at the start of this, a number of movies did not release. So we're going to do two things here for this check-in episode. Number one, for movies that were not released during the league season, March through August, we'll be dropping those films. And for our extra innings play, our supplemental draft here, you will be picking up movies only for the month of September to try to get some points added to your score. So we at least all have something represented to that. We know the pickings are slim, but hey, that's the deal.
Love slim pickings.
That's what we got
in Doctor Strangelove.
So we also have we'll have some counter picks to get based on that as well. So we'll be doing that. And then, which was our original plan going in to September, was to have an October pickup where everybody's going to get their October surprise. We'll talk more about that in a bit, but we'll all be adding one film to our roster, and that'll be an October release that is meant to help and boost all of our scores in some way or fashion. Before we do that, though, maybe we should do a little draft check-in. We will go kind of in the order of the current scores, and we're just going to have each of us sort of introduce our draft, kind of review the films we picked back in February. You don't need to talk about how each one did, but if you want to add any sort of thoughts or commentary as you go through your list, you are more than welcome to. But I think we'll just start there as a way to kind of get folks who haven't been following along, shame on you, at leagueofthegreats.com. You just go to leagueofthegreats.com. There's a little
the roster's there, like everybody's roster
there, yeah.
Films is there.
You click league standings. You can
scores are there.
Yeah.
Links
But in case
all the places you can listen to the podcast.
You're doing your jog right now. You're driving back from work, so you don't need to pick up the phone and check the league right now. We'll run it for you, but in your off time, check us out, leagueofthegreats.com. So I think currently looking at the scores, as we stand, we'll go backwards. Lee, you're in the basement right now.
We're going to go backwards a lot of times tonight. So
that's the theme for tonight. Yeah, it's get used to going first.
So I'm last, so I'm going to go first every time. Okay.
She's in the caboose of the league train car.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Because the way the League of the Greats works, we do operate, as we were talking in the Patreon pre-show, under the Mario Kart blue shell theory.
I still love I'm looking at my list, and I love the films that I picked. I didn't actually see them all, but I'm solid about the films I picked.
That's the one thing. Even if you're the team that's not doing great, if it's not your season, you still stand behind your players, your team.
I'm standing behind my players.
You love everybody on that bench.
I am. So Black Widow, didn't see it, but I feel like it was a good pick. I don't know.
It was solid.
It was a good pick. You got 20 points for it.
Right? I got 20 points.
Yeah.
That's okay. Space Jam, it didn't do well, but the kids loved it. Our kids loved it. So critics? Not so much. I even listened to a couple podcasts with Oh shoot,
LeBron
I can't
James?
remember his name. No, yeah, LeBron James. No, yeah, LeBron James. I'm glad I picked that movie, but it didn't do well.
Black
Yeah,
Widow couldn't even help you
yeah.
out on that one.
I feel like we
Godzilla.
called that though in the draft when you picked Space Jam.
You did. You definitely did.
Yeah, that was
You
a little bit
definitely
of
did.
like a.
I was kind of giving, Julian, Jesse's son, is a huge Space Jam fan. And I bought him a Space Jam shirt that used to be his favorite shirt until he grew 800 inches over the last year. And
More like Spaceman.
so I kind of picked it in like memoriam of his childhood. Because he's not a child. He's like a man boy now.
I will say he did not love Space Jam 2. I mean, he said it was fine, but
yeah.
I mean, there's it's hard to beat that first one with the Monstars.
I know. So Godzilla versus Kong, I think it did okay. I mean, I'm not now old. I'm surprised about. I mean, I just watched the trailer when I picked it. I didn't know. It seemed interesting, but apparently it didn't do well. Cherry, I'm surprised about. Of all the trailers I watched, Cherry was my favorite trailer. And it did terribly. Really bad.
It's Tom Holland. It's like heroin movies are going to be hit and miss.
Yeah. Cruella. Yeah. I mean, I know. I love a drug movie. That's the problem.
The Russo brothers, you take them out of the Marvel universe and give them a semi-serious story about a heroin addict. I mean, just the numbers didn't line up for them.
I love a drug movie. I watch too much.
I'm about to say we might put that on the greatest movies bumper sticker as a Patreon perk. It's just
I love a drug movie.
I love a drug movie.
I love a drug movie. Jesse rented 4 Good Days for me the other day. It's the Mila Kunis, Glenn Close movie. She's addicted to heroin. She has to have 4 good days. And you know what? It wasn't great, but I loved watching it because I love a good drug movie. So I was surprised that didn't do well.
I think the bumper sticker has to happen now, by the way. So
yeah,
that's a $20 patron perk.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be good. I still love it. Top Gun didn't come out. Cruella, awesome movie. I should have gotten more points for that one for sure. I don't think there was anything not good about that movie. Really? Do you?
Wow.
No, I enjoyed it. I mean, they got a 74. You got 14 points. It's definitely in the 70 range.
Really? I thought it should have done better, but it was a great movie.
I mean, those Disney live action, like, hey, let's create a backstory for somebody and let's make a live action movie out of this thing people loved in an animated film. I mean, it's hit and miss, right?
I know, but here's why I thought it would do better. Because kids today, I don't know if I talked about this in our other podcast. I think maybe we did. Kids today don't even know 101 Dalmatians. So it's almost like not even a backstory. It's a story on its own. Like they know what 101 Dalmatians is. They know it's a dog, but they don't know the movie. Kids today don't. Because it came out a long time ago. Really long time.
My kids are well versed in classic Disney.
Your kids. But let's talk
kids.
about like 90% of the population.
They're in the Disney enrichment program.
They are. It's I mean, we're talking kids that are fans of Disney's Robin Hood and the Aristocats.
You're like, if it wasn't
I love
released,
the Aristocats.
You're like, if it was released in a plastic large clamshell VHS white cassette box, you have to watch it.
Yeah.
It's sort of like what they're happening at that house. Like,
Yummy.
That's how we watched ours, except I'm just reel to reel, classic 35 millimeter.
Yeah.
I'm full of shit. No, we watched those on Blu-ray transfers because they look better.
No, I just love it. Those Volt VHS releases.
Jungle Cruise, I'm going to admit, that was probably a bad choice. But just in general.
Disappointing.
Respect, I thought that was my counter pick.
Counter pick.
Yep.
I killed you.
Oh wow, I didn't realize it got so.
Jesse and I talked about this later. I don't think I fully understood the counterpick process, but that's fine.
There's always season 2, and thankfully the
There's
Beatles
always
wasn't
season
released.
2. Thankfully,
Yeah, I mean,
the Beatles.
that one, when you picked that one, I was like, I don't know what this movie's going to be, but that seems bad because there's already a built-in audience for Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, movie,
I
no
know.
movie, built-in audience.
So that kind of killed me. That counterpick really killed me.
People
But
really love that one. I guess.
Yeah, 95.
yeah, they loved it. Or the critics loved it, right?
No, the
No,
critics thought it was
were-
okay.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll
the
get to
audience
that.
loved it. See,
Audience loved it.
I've always been confused on the counterpick.
For new listeners, the counter pick is basically, though for our movie picks, you're trying to get the highest Rotten Tomatoes score possible for the critics. Our counter pick, on the other hand, you have to pick from someone else's from within the draft. But you're looking at, for the counter pick, you're thinking this is a movie the audiences are going to hate, meaning it'll get a low audience. You're rooting for a low audience score. So it's sort
and
of
the audiences loved it.
And audiences loved Respect.
Of course they did.
They
Okay,
found
that's
out what
me.
it
You'll have a
That's it.
chance.
I'm done.
Yeah, you'll have some chance for, some redemptions. You'll be repicking for Top Gun, and then your counter pick for the Beatles.
I think I have some good choices, but I'm not going to guarantee it because I don't have a good track record. But you never know.
Listen, you were doing great up until the month of August is what, with Respect is what changed the tide for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you were like, you were in
I
the
was at the
pennant hunt,
bottom.
like you were chased,
Mhm,
you
I
had a
mean-
good shot, and then you lost the games the wrong time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, everybody loves an underdog, so I'm going for it.
Well, you
in
got that blue
September,
shell
October.
today, so hopefully you use your blue shell well in your first picks as well. So JB, you're at the next rank there, going up. You're at negative 23 points.
Mm-hmm.
Been a rough season, but as we've kind of mentioned in previous episodes, a consistent season.
Right, I deliver. Yeah.
For you.
There's no surprise about where I stand, and people like that. I like that.
But you also have, as we're going to see here in a second when you share your list, you have 3 picks coming tonight. So
That was
I mean-
all part of the plan.
You had a lot of folks on your roster get injured before they got a chance to even get in the game.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, some of them got in the game and clearly were, overdrafted, we'll say. Let's see. Army of the Dead, Those Who Wish Me Dead, and Blue Bayou. All in the 60s. I really would have thought they would have hit 70s. I wasn't expecting much more than 70s, but that's fair. I'll give Army of the Dead 60s, but Those Who Wish Me and Blue Bayou, it's hard to pick the indie darlings from the critics' view.
Those Who Wish Me Dead, I watched it and I was expecting so much more from it, and
it underdelivered.
Oh yeah, was not a very good film.
Yeah,
but you've got some room for Blue Bayou to kind of inch its way up. There are only early reviews in for that. I think there are only 11 currently. It gets a full release in the month of September. So, who knows?
Yeah, I got to pay some critics off. Yeah.
You use that Trevor podcast money.
Oh, don't tell Trevor.
Listen, we know the salary that you folks pull over there at the Trevor podcast.
Oh, I know you know. Sandusky's all about the transparent.
It's in the 3
Glassdoor.
digits, which is 3 digits more than what Jesse and I are paid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're inching into comma territory, that's for sure. Free Guy, killing it. Ryan Reynolds. That was honestly that I did not expect that to be my top film. But
Yeah,
you know what? I'll
me
take
either.
it.
Well, I mean, it scored as well with the critics as
Jeez.
your counterpick of my film scored with the people.
Yeah, Suicide Squad. I wasn't expecting it. And to the Suicide Squad film's point, one of the big things was I did not think they could handle that large of an ensemble. And when you watch the movie, they definitely find creative ways to not handle that large of an ensemble. So it makes sense why it did so well, in my opinion. There was less character development than there needed than the trailers made it out to be.
There
which
was
Oh, yeah.
just enough character development
Yeah.
in that film.
yeah. So
I liked it.
it was a good sort of like look at this hand while the other hand surprises you with less character development. So good job, James Gunn. You got me. You damn guy.
I feel like I tried to warn you.
You did. Yeah, and I was like, you know what? They already ruined it once. He's already saved a few things. He doesn't need another golden goose. He needs like a nice dusty, rusty copper goose.
You can't keep those guys that come from trauma down.
Yeah. Chaos Walking though. What a mess.
Yeah.
Tom Holland is.
Yeah, just like Cherry.
He should really just stick to a Spider-Man. That's what I'm learning. Hope he's learning too.
Yo, what was that? He was in a Netflix release.
The Devil All the Time.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that
that's
was
right,
not well reviewed either.
It wasn't well reviewed. I liked the movie, but I think it was because of Robert Pattinson.
I mean, that said, like I will say, I do think Tom Holland's a really decent actor, regardless of how these films.
Yeah.
Every time we got to defend Tom Holland, but I think he's maybe got a couple more years until he finds his groove outside of web slinging.
They just need to make another in the Emperor's. Let him do voice acting in the Emperor's New Groove or Gronk's New Groove or whatever the third in the trilogy of the New Grooves is.
You think he'd be Emperor Cusco?
His nephew.
I can see
All
it.
right, so JB, that's your thing. We'll see where you get. You got 3 picks tonight, and then your October surprise. So
To the moon, baby, to the moon.
we got
Alice.
Yeah, and next up is Nikki J, who Nikki J, your audio is working great, by the way. We're hearing you well.
Okay, good. I wasn't sure because it's been weird on my
We
screen.
got you. But you are up next. Now we're moving into the positive territory. You're sitting in 3rd place right now, though. You were constantly, first place, second place, jumping around there as well. You're sitting at 39 points now. And I'll admit, I'll let you get through your draft. This is one for everybody. When you were drafting this back in February, your picks were daunting. I was
Upsetting.
I was sweating this draft because I was like, this is the shoe in. So
I was pretty confident, to be honest, and some of them hit, and some of them, well, I guess I'll go through. I guess Venom hasn't come out yet, right? So
Yeah, that got
won't be
pushed.
released.
I think to later.
it's pushed to October, I think, which makes it interesting.
Oh, okay.
Puts you in an interesting spot. You could pick it as your October surprise should you want, but it will be officially dropped from your draft because it's not hitting a release within our window. But it is eligible for you or anyone to grab it in your October surprise expanded roster.
Right. Well, in terms of Luca, still haven't seen it yet. Heard it was okay. I think we talked about it on a previous podcast a little bit.
Yeah.
Luca? Yeah, the kids love it.
That's good to know.
I mean, I got
Don't Breathe 2. Looked kind of weird from the trailer. So I'm not too surprised that critics didn't really like it.
I'll be honest. I was sweating it after I saw the first trailer for Don't Breathe 2. I literally said, I was like, I sent Jesse a link to the trailer because I was like, wow, this could be good. I was like, I don't know how they're making a sequel for this film because the first one was decent. But yeah, to see the kind of reviews come in on this, I was shocked and relieved, frankly, that it performed as poorly as it did.
Relieved so that they don't keep making more.
No, it's relieved because
For the
it meant
points.
that I jumped you in the stand.
Oh, don't make it like the next Saw. Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it would be better received because I thought the first one was pretty well received, right?
Yeah, it was. I mean, again, I watched that one. It's actually a decent home invasion story. I just wasn't sure how you make a sequel to that.
Right.
And clearly, I was right in my. How do you make a sequel to that works? Apparently, they didn't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. The one that I was hoping would come out, because I also want to see this one, is the Beatles Get Back documentary from Peter Jackson. But I guess it's been pushed back again, or
Yeah, it's not until
delays.
December, but it's December and it's been converted to like a extended series.
3-part. Yeah.
Which I'll be honest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when you picked the Beatles there, that I felt that was the nail in the coffin. Like that was your home run.
Yeah.
Walk off home run, win the series.
That's how it goes with fantasy, right?
And so I was elated when I learned about the Beatles.
I mean, this was
giddy.
your QB1, like slotted in your like fantasy football equivalent. This was your QB1, and he got injured in the preseason and couldn't show up in the season. So
I was giddy about that one.
Oh, tore his ACL and MCL both. Yesterday, I'll be honest, I kind of forgot about this one. And I guess the critics didn't like it that much.
I think they wish they could forget about
that. Yeah. In the Heights, I'm happy it was so well received. I was thinking that it would be well received just because I know people love Lin-Manuel Miranda, all those different musicals usually, but you never know sometimes with stage to film adaptations how they're going to be received or not. So Vivo thought that one would be good, but I also didn't know anything about it. So
that's another Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh yeah. Fatherhood, kind of still haven't seen it, so I can't judge it, but I guess people liked it enough to get some points. So, and then the one that really still kind of mad about, salty about, is Justice League: The Snyder Cut. Just everyone loved it. Most critics liked it, I think, but the general population just loved it. And I just thought the first one was kind of, people didn't like it that much, and I thought, well, maybe they'll like it, but I just had a feeling they would not like it that much. But I underestimated how many people would just watch like 4 hours of Batman and Superman. So
yeah, I think for a counter pick, that's just also just riding on just fan love of the fact that it just got made. Like that's just like pro Snyder, it's more Zack Snyder love versus love for the film.
Well, I mean, that's
true.
That's why the film was made, right?
Yeah.
Like it was because the fans asked for it. So I mean, I think it was in their own best interest, considering that they got it, to not say like, oh, maybe it's over long, because it is. But when you ask and then you receive, I think you have to kind of accept what you got and praise it in some capacity, which is, what happened here, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So
you were behind the 8 ball on that one from the jump.
Yeah. It just hurt you.
Yeah.
But no,
don't underestimate the fan love.
Yeah. No, but Nick J, you have some some hard hitter, solid, high scoring films for sure, and so you're still doing well even with that Snyder Cut weighing you down in the counter. But no, so tonight you'll be picking up. You get 2 pickups to kind of help out with in place of the Beatles and the Venom, and also that counter pickup. So it's technically 3. So we'll see where you go. That brings us to second place with Gabriel, 48 points. Another one that was kind of battling it out with Nikki J most of this season between the top spot. And then you
you brought it home there in the month of August, and really just in the last like week.
That's just like the end of the season surge. You see like last week.
You got the hot
surge.
hand right
Mhm.
before the playoffs.
Hey, it only matters how you play the last 2 weeks of the season.
True. If the season's
That's
short
right.
enough.
If the season's short enough and you're close and you're within reach.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not gonna. I feel like my roster is a roster of extremes. Either they did like extremely well for the most part, or they just did horribly. I mean, my hitters were Raya and the Last Dragon, Suicide Squad, and the Green Knight, like all earning me fairly large sums of double-digit points. I was really let down by the performance of Coming to America. Coming to number 2 America, the sequel, especially having watched the original film right before Coming to America was released. I did watch it. I don't think it was a great film, but I also don't think it was sub 50 points on Rotten Tomatoes. But I mean, that's me. Moxie, which was kind of a last minute pick, that one proved to be okay. Sun as well, the horror film, that one was all right for me. But I mean, what really got me was it was being a fool and betting against Lin-Manuel Miranda. I stand by the logic on that pick that Broadway doesn't always translate to film and that people don't always receive it as well. That was my thinking. I didn't want to, I know it says, but I really didn't want to pick something that I thought was like easy pickings. Like I wanted to kind of challenge myself and see if I could pull it off, and it backfired on me horrendously. And then there's Infinite, which has the lowest Rotten Tomatoes score of all. Or is it still the lowest?
I think it is.
Yeah, it's still the lowest. It'd be hard to beat a 16.
Whew.
Is that the one with Hugh Jackman, or is that the one?
No,
with,
so Infinite
Mark
is
Wahlberg?
it's
Wahlberg.
Oh boy,
It's rough. I watched it. I mean, I don't think it's a 16.
Mark.
But yeah, it's Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, the movie. If
You
Marky
can't call him that.
I
If
believe
Marky Mark wanted to make a Matrix movie.
Mark Wahlberg these days.
He's like jacked up. He works out all the time.
It's I watched it. It's not a 16. I'll give you that. It's not a 16.
Yeah, I mean,
not great. It's not great. Either.
Gabriel, I did think about that You're in the Heights pick. It's the same way you thought about my Space Jam pick. I was like, ooh.
Oh, look, I kind of thought about my In the Heights pick the same way I thought about your Space Jam pick, but I took the risk. Just again, trying to keep things spicy on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's a directive. What's a directive we're under for Dusky, by the way?
I mean, it was like after season 1, they were like, Gabriel, you can't like just win all these games.
Yeah.
You gotta
Handicap.
you gotta tone it back. You gotta tone it down a little bit.
I like
Take it down a notch. And I was like, all right, I'll keep it spicy. Draft's coming up. I got you. And Sandusky got my head. I got my own head. But I mean, on paper, right? Like Infinite seemed like it would be a decent choice. I mean, it's Antoine Fuqua who directed Training Day and various other films. Chiwetel Ejiofor is in this with Mark Wahlberg, Jason Mantzoukas, Toby Jones.
Oh, Mantzoukas.
Just didn't work out for me the way I had hoped it was. There was very little information about that film when we drafted, to the point where I wasn't even sure if it was coming out. So,
one story I can share about Infinite. Of all the movies across this table, there's only one movie that my brother has texted me to watch.
And it's Infinite?
It's Infinite.
Really?
So he's clearly not a movie critic, but I love him nonetheless.
That's great.
Curious the audience.
He liked it. He was like, you got to see this.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I just watched this movie. I think you'd really enjoy it. You should check it out. I've not watched it yet, not because of Rotten Tomatoes, but just because I'm just to spite my brother. No. I just forgot until this moment.
No, I mean, I enjoyed my time with it. I just, yeah.
I'm feeling like somebody paid off the critics to just dog this one to sandbag me.
Donnie
not-
Wahlberg.
Yeah, I mean, not to labor on. I know I mentioned it in the previous episode a little bit. I think the biggest downfall is the Mark Wahlberg voiceover that bookends this film, and that I think that's what really hurts it. It leaves really bad. It leaves a corny, cheesy taste in your mouth at the end of the film when he does this little voiceover.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that.
Jerk Jiggler outro.
I mean, the one thing I will say is I'm disappointed Minions: The Rise of Gru did not come out. I feel like that would have been a strong performer for me, but I will try to find a counterpick in whatever it is that we have left when this is all. Once we settle out these unreleased films, and that I guess that brings us to you, Jesse. Since you went. Wait, were you in third or were you in second place?
I mean, I pretty much lived. I think it was third. I pretty much lived in third.
Second and third place, mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I had kind of thrown my hands up in the air at one point, thinking that when Green Knight dropped, I think maybe Lee can even attest to this. I said, "Well, Gabriel won. We're done. It's over."
Yeah.
You can't have that fatalist thinking, Jesse.
And I did. I didn't have faith in some of my hitters who hadn't had a chance yet. But no, just running through quick. Yeah, it did surprise. I shot up to 88 points here in the last week or two with a couple films dropping. The biggest surprise is Candyman. I thought Candyman would do well. I didn't think it would get an 84, giving me 24 points. But Candyman, I thought Candyman would just live in the 70 range. I thought we'd get a positive review, but just given the source material, it would still not quite get it. But no, I mean that was a big surprise.
That was one of my son of a bitches in the draft.
No, it's true.
I'm pretty sure I had a good feeling based on the director, based on Jordan Peele producing, kind of understanding what the premise of this was. I really felt like it was going to do well.
Yeah, and it did well. And then the other big surprise for me, and I felt was the long shot, and I did grab it early in the draft, I remember.
Spirit.
We'll get to Spirit Untamed. No, but Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings, as the Marvel superhero film, hoping, you hope it would be something in the high 90s, and coming in at kind of like a 92 right now. It was the complete shocker. And we know when you get in the 90 points, you start getting those multipliers, those double-digit extra add-ons to your score. So those are the two big surprises that kind of gave me that surge. That's 58 points at the last 2 weeks that kind of just jumped me up there. So those are my big surprises for that. But other than that, the rest of the thing, Justice League Snyder Cut, respected worse than I thought it would. I thought that was going to be my critic darling, but still, that helped me out. Nobody was a nice surprise that it did better than I thought it would. I was banking on Peter the Rabbit too. That was my spicy pick.
We were all confused about that.
Thinking I'd get the Paddington 2 effect.
Yeah.
And though I didn't come close to it, I still got 7 points. So it still worked out. Spirit Untamed was my riskiest pick, thinking critics would be nice to the kids looking for a nice movie about horses.
Wholesome horse film.
Yeah, you always go for the wholesome horse animated films. And that one hurt me, for sure. And then Old, I knew there was no way the M. Night fan base would be kind to him. And so counter picks are the hardest picks. And I feel good that I'm one of the few of us that got some positive points in a counter pick.
It's the rule of three with M. Night, right? Mm-hmm. Like he can put together 3 decent films in a row, but the fourth one is always just gonna not work.
And my feeling was
I think that's the formula.
Yeah. And my thought too was like, well, listen, Glass wasn't well loved, and if he's doing any sort of gimmick or twist, that's going to split the audience no matter what. And so I was
he's doing a twist.
Yeah, so I
You
knew
know
if that
he's
was
doing
the
a
case,
twist.
I thought old was easy money when it came to a counter pick, and it helped me out there as well. And so so that was my group. I felt good, and then my biggest disappointment as well. I thought the other shoe-in was Boogie, and Boogie just let me down big time.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but I mean, if you look across, right? If you look across the rosters for all of us, like the films we drafted, like yours don't dip. You don't have any, like, your negative points. Your highest negative point total is 18.
Yeah.
Everyone else has something that's sandbagging them way more than that.
I mean, I was going with the Moneyball philosophy. You know what I mean? I don't need.
You don't need all the all stars. Just
Yeah. Just doing Moneyball. I watched Moneyball before I draft.
Look at the
I was like,
analytics.
Here's what we're doing. This is what
Billy
we're doing.
Bean, just Billy Bean.
I called Jonah up real quick. I said, Jonah, I need your help, and he helped me out.
Oh man, speaking of Jonah, I recently rewatched Wolf of Wall Street. Holy
cow! I really like that movie.
He's so good in that.
Yeah,
that was a good movie.
All right, speaking of Wolf of Wall Street, and that's not a segue, but a mess. let's get these replacement players and these minor leaguers out on the field to help us out to replace these injured players for a moment.
Call some folks up from AAA.
And I think this is where it gets messy, right? We could have a future All-Star on our hands. We could have a Jason Hayward or a
underdog
Bryce Harper
come out
dude.
forward.
We could have.
Nobody wants a Bryce Harper on their team.
I don't want a Bryce Harper on my team.
Nobody wants a Bryce Harper on their team. So yes, Jesse's talking baseball. He's talking baseball, but he's talking he's talking baseball players who are in their prime about
10 years ago,
7
5 years ago,
to 10 years ago. Yeah.
It shows you the last time I paid attention to minor leaguers getting their break.
When the Braves traded Jason Hayward away, it was a sad day for me. I was like, I don't care about the Braves anymore.
So we're saying at one point, Jesse cared enough about it.
Well, listen, the reason I bring up Jason Hayward and Bryce Harper, these were also two that were brought up at the exact same time. And they were both as two future All-Stars that, and they were just they both appeared at the same time, the same division.
Oh, yeah, roughly. Well. Yeah, Harper with the Nats and Hayward with the Braves. And Hayward grew up he was a beautiful story. I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, we're not getting into it. Listen, anyway,
love Jason.
The messy part.
I'm so glad he won a World Series with the Cubs. Helped them break their curse. Bryce Harper was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was 16.
I don't like Bryce Harper, so
no, he's trash.
No one likes him. So we will move on. So we got some picks to make real quick. We're dropping all of our non-released films. We do have a draft order. We are going from last to first, and we're going to do 3 rounds here. The rounds will be as such. Round 1 is going to be Lee, JB. I have right here Lee, JB, Nikki J, and then Gabriel will be our first round. And we're picking a September film. Then JB, you'll get another pick, followed by Nikki J. And then rounding it out will be a third pick by JB. And that'll finish our September pickups. And then we'll pick our counter picks from those of us who need counter picks. So we're going to add 7 new players, 7 new films to the rosters to drop those Top Guns and those Venoms and Bios and whatever that film's called now.
Yeah, I did. I don't even know what the hell that movie is at this point.
Or if rename,
or if it's ever going to get made.
Yeah. So that starts with you, Lee. Who are you adding to your team to replace your Top Gun?
Well, so this is my September pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going between 2 because my top one, which I'm glad I didn't pick, actually I realized already released. So now So now I'm going between 2. My 2 are. Should I say my 2? I'm going between.
You can talk out. This is like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Okay, I'm going between The Duke with Helen Mirren and Bestsellers.
Ooh.
I know y'all are probably like, those are really
Everybody's
bad.
being quiet because like it's like I got things to pick. I mean, I'm the only one
I
in
believe
this
the
game here.
Duke is going to definitely already have scores.
It might have. I think the
because
Duke actually has
You
a score. I
think?
looked this
I
one
think
up.
the Duke
Oh.
had a limited release.
and look,
yeah,
oh.
it had a
Okay.
limited release in
That would have
2020.
been a
Good to
good
know.
pick.
Oh,
Wait,
that would have been a
Oh.
good pick.
Look, I mean, believe me, there were a few in the original draft that were like this for me, and this was one that was on my radar, and I looked it up, and I was like, oh boy.
Okay,
That
I
would've
didn't
been-
look
boy.
it up. I just looked at who was in it and like the
So that might
trailer.
leave your other film there. Your other one there. The
Jim
Oh,
Broadbent, right, is
So-
that's
What?
fantastic. And you said best sellers,
Sellers.
which may have
oh, Michael.
It's
Caine.
Michael
Aubrey-
Caine,
Michael
Aubrey
Caine?
Plaza, which I love Aubrey Plaza.
There you go.
Score?
No scores.
It has one
Michael
review,
Caine.
but there's no score posted yet, so that is
I
definitely.
think I'm gonna go with that one. That's what I'm leaning towards.
Do it.
Well-
Best sellers.
Well, you took one of mine off the list.
All right.
All right,
Best
that's what I'm
sellers
going
is-
towards. I'm a
Do you know how to
Best
properly
huge
say
fan of
Mike?
Aubrey Plaza.
Do you know how to
I like her a
properly
lot.
say Michael Caine's name?
Sir Michael Caine.
No, you don't say Michael.
Michael.
Oh,
Is it-
Michael.
You say
Caine.
Michael Caine, like
Michael
my
Caine.
cocaine, my
Michael Caine.
cocaine.
Oh,
Wow, that's how you
Michael
say it.
Caine.
Wow.
So Michael Caine,
Wow.
and that's that. Wow.
Michael Caine.
That the no,
Only one
I
pick
there,
in, guys.
there's I forget what movie or maybe it wasn't a movie, maybe it was on a top. But I saw this. There was this thing where somebody's like, "Do you know how to say Michael Caine's name?" And they're like, "Michael Caine." And he's like, "No, he's my cocaine."
That's how you say
I
it.
get it.
And
I
you,
like
just,
it.
you add a little
I
British
like it.
accent to it, and you say it fast. I'm Michael Caine.
Wow. All right.
I
So,
like it.
best
So
sellers.
that's my pick. That's my
Welcome to the League of the Greats.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw that up
Do
on.
that, and while you're doing that, that puts JB, your first
My
pick
Top
of
Gun.
many
you're
tonight.
you're
Yeah.
you were in the hot seat, JB.
Top Gun's gone, guys.
All right. Because I like the name, we're gonna go hopefully Mogul Mowgli.
I like that name too, JB.
Thank you. I hope it doesn't have a rating already.
Have we looked at this one at all? Do we know anything about this?
It's got
funny.
Riz
I looked
Ahmed.
at it. I looked
Okay,
at it.
okay.
And so I think this is another one that also has some existing reviews, because I do think this is another one that had
September 3rd.
a quick release.
Yeah, some of these early ones, these
Or small
September
release.
3rd ones,
Yeah.
because we're on the first tier
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we can fix the links in a bit if we need to.
No problemo.
Right.
Does it have a score? Let me double check.
Yeah, just check it on the.
just say it out loud. Now I can pull it up.
Mogul,
No interns to help me.
Mowgli.
I'm over here, single monitor. Don't even have a second monitor.
Yeah, I mean, talk
Got
about
lots of tabs though.
I'm ready.
podcast comparison. This one is so understaffed. Sandusky's really
Don't
pulling your.
don't you say another word.
Yeah, we used to have them all.
Don't you say another word, JB.
Is Isabel good these days though, JB? Is she doing well?
He's
Trevor
her and Trevor. I think there's a spark between them.
Okay. Well, Trevor was always he was always unprofessional like that, but it's cool.
That's exactly.
He was. He is. 95%, 65 reviews.
Oh, yeah, that's too many reviews.
That's a lot of reviews.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, you're gonna have to come with
Okay.
a fresh
Deeper.
pick.
All right, the Eyes of Tammy Faye. We're gonna go for the
Oh, that's a
Bakers,
good one.
baby.
There you go.
All right. All right.
I knew that
This
one
is
would get
one
taken.
that in some pre-show preparation,
Oh,
I learned something that shocked me, and then I shared it with Jesse, and he was also surprised. This film is listed as a drama, but is directed by one Mr. Michael Showalter,
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
fan of the show, friend of the show, Michael Showalter,
Friend of the show.
the showman,
Mhm.
right?
The Baxter himself, if you will.
Yeah, the Baxter himself. Star of Stella, both stage and television.
Wet Hot American Summer.
And star of Wet Hot American Summer.
What is
So
hottest?
that was a good pick. I knew that one would not last long, JB. So yeah, he's a Tammy Faye. Nikki
So-
J. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, JB. Gabriel, I mean.
Let's pick that one.
Yeah, the eyes of Tammy Faye.
So Tammy Faye, that was one of my top picks.
No, but
I love the Bakers. They're my favorite couple.
Yeah.
Oh
In
man.
a convoluted
Those
way.
guys are wild.
Yes.
All right,
They
Nikki
love
J,
buckets.
Nikki J, that puts you up for your September, your first of your 2
All right.
replacement.
I'm gonna try to strike lightning twice, or whatever a good saying for that is.
Yeah, that's
There we go.
exactly what it is.
I'm gonna strike lightning twice.
Something like that.
That's the $45 bumper
I
sticker.
always mess up idioms.
He's trying to outdo my bumper sticker.
There you go. Well, no, I can't. No.
if you happen to watch it, at least though, because I only watched one of them and I regret doing so. The Twilight films. I mean, the sound of vampires hitting baseballs is the sound of thunder or lightning striking. So, you could hit lightning twice if you're a vampire.
That's right.
In that universe.
There you go.
Do it.
Well, I'm going to try to repeat the formula of success and pick another musical to film adaptation with Dear Evan Hansen.
Fantastic.
Oh, I
Fantastic.
Like
And
that's a good choice.
That's coming in right there at the end of the month. You've got some time before you find out if that was a good
Nikki
pick
J,
or if it
I think
failed.
you got a good one.
Let's
hope.
Let's slot that in here. We're gonna. You know what? I'm gonna replace the Beatles with Dear Evan Hansen. Seems right. Music related.
Yeah, that works.
This is great.
All right, it's my turn.
Yeah, that brings it up to you.
Oh man, I'm so glad. I could be wrong here, but my number I had already vetted these I vetted the players in the draft. It's ready. I had my number 1 player on the board. I was like, I want to trade up to get this player, but I couldn't. I had no picks to trade.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the card counter. The card counter, starring Oscar Isaac.
Okay.
Good choice.
It's one that's been on my radar. I've only seen one trailer for it, but it's got a solid pedigree, good director. I'm hoping for good things here. So that's gonna slot into that BIOS.
Bye BIOS.
Sell there. Bye BIOS.
And I'm gonna admit, y'all, I did not pay much attention to these September picks because I was like, you know what? I can't pick anything. I know I got a counter pick, so I'm feeling a little nervous here now looking at these counter picks because I have not paid attention to these films. All right, so the card count, that's the first thing. We've got a couple folks in here, so that brings us back to JB. You have your second of your 3 pickups. So you get another one here.
Okay. Let's see here. I am gonna go. Let me just double check.
Yeah, take it. You're the one who gets to really comb the minors. Look at that farm league and see what you can bring up.
Check out AAA rosters. Hey, you can go down to AA if you want.
Yeah,
a lot of these have Rotten Tomatoes scores.
It's tough. We have slim pickings. That's why it's messy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is literally the result of COVID. Like you've got these films, right, that they maybe got some like festival circuit release, and so they got some early, like maybe a handful of reviews.
Yeah,
but then they got shelved, to kind of sit on for a studio or a theatrical release. So Yeah, it's tough. Not a lot to pick from.
Wow. Funny enough, Karen, which comes out on the 3rd, has no Rotten Tomatoes reviews. That's not my pick, though.
I was really hoping somebody would take Karen.
It is about the word Karen being
Yeah, it sounds like a really terrible premise for a film.
racist white woman is what they describe the character of Karen as.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to go for...
Is that what Karen means? A racist white woman?
Well, that is what the current sort of slang term of
I
a
thought
Karen.
it started as just like an overly
entitled.
critical, entitled white woman.
Yeah.
But have we added racist to it?
I think that kind of starts to fall into it's Karens or Becky's is my understanding of how that all works now. You got Karens and you got Becky's. I think Becky's are people who call the police on Black people while they're in their own homes or community pools, and Karens are people who like to complain to the manager about things that they have no business complaining about.
All right. We're going to go with, after that wonderful masterclass,
Sorry.
we're going to
Welcome
go...
to my TED Talk. I don't know.
We're going to go with Cry Macho. Clint Eastwood better pull through.
Oh,
There it is. I knew we would not get out of here without Cry Macho joining the
There you go.
league.
That was one that was on my list.
Speaking of Karens.
Eastwood is not a bad director.
I think that's positive
Cry
points,
Macho?
JB, no matter which way you slice it.
I agree. I think he's maybe turned a corner on some of his questionable views of recent years.
I hear
Clint
that a little
Eastwood?
bit as well.
Yeah, but the man's film catalog as a
He's
director
really old.
is unquestionable.
I mean, and here's the thing. He's really old, and he has had different views over the years because he's lived in a different lifetime.
I mean, are you saying
than
he's
we've
old?
lived.
Clint
Yes.
Westwood.
Are you sure he's old?
He's so old. We have to excuse
He's like 90,
his
right?
views at some point.
I got
We
my
can't
start with
cancel
Never the
everything.
Talkies.
I mean, he
I
lived in
mean-
a different view. Like, he lived in a completely different world that had completely different beliefs and
You
views.
sound like a Clint Eastwood sympathizer here.
I am.
I mean, he's only 91.
Exactly.
Is he really that old?
Yes, he's
He's old
old.
to be making movies. All right, so this
He'll
is
become
Macho
a cyborg.
one. I knew we'd get at it. And when I saw it, I'll be honest, when I was doing the quick research, like, oh yeah, there's some September picks. We got Cry Macho. We're fine. And that was it.
That's what you were like. We got Cry Macho. That's
I was
good
like,
enough.
somebody will get Cry Macho, so nobody can cry about it. Nikki J, you have another pick. Got to replace that Venom.
Oh boy.
Replace Venom with Venom.
Wait, there was one I was looking at. Okay. Let's see. I don't
What are
know
you
if this
thinking?
has already been rated or not.
Yeah, give me a
But-
name and I'll find it.
The Nowhere Inn with St. Vincent.
That
Oh,
does
it
not
does.
have ratings yet.
Does it not? I'll check it. 'Cause I
Nope.
thought I looked at that. I thought
I
it had
looked
a
at
few
that.
festivals.
Let's
It did.
well, maybe it did some festival. Oh, it does have ratings.
Yeah.
Dang it.
I did-
That looked
I
Oh,
kind
it did pretty good too.
Yeah, I peeked
Did
at
well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I did read the premise of this film and it sounded very interesting to me. While Nikki J's looking for another pick. The premise of this film is that Carrie Brownstein from Sleater-Kinney and Portlandia fame, and St. Vincent are these friends, and Carrie Brownstein's like, we should do a documentary about your life, and they start trying to film a documentary, and most of her life outside of actually performing is extremely boring. And so it's about this dichotomy of perceived lives versus real lives, and then people trying to spice those lives up for show. So
Yeah,
That is
I
interesting.
looked it up because I hoped somebody would pick it because I thought it would be a good counter pick.
Oh,
I agree with you. This was one that was like, I was like, this is maybe on my list at the bottom if there are no ratings, but I think this would be a good counter pick. I don't think people will receive this well.
That was my thought.
Because they won't understand it. They
Yeah.
won't.
Oh, you mean audience?
Let's think about IFC Sportlandia for a minute, and I think that's a show that hits in the right spot for certain people, and for other people, it's like, why does this show exist?
Yeah.
What is this even?
I agree.
And I feel like the Nowhere Inn would have been that
too.
sort of polarizing thing.
Okay, I have another one.
All right, what you got?
Hopefully this doesn't also. It might though. We need to do something. That looks kind of interesting.
I want to say I may have looked this one up too. This does have Pat Healy in it, and we have ratings.
Dang it. Okay, another one. Oh, this might have ratings too.
Come at me. What you got?
I'm Your Man.
That does have ratings.
Man,
And that would have been a really good pick. I'll go ahead and tell you, because I did look this up yesterday because I was like, oh, I'm intrigued.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Sitting at a 92 right now with 38
Wow.
reviews. This
We gotta
Okay,
see that.
again, a very interesting premise with this film. I believe a woman is asked to date a robotic man with AI.
I hate
I'm
movies
your
like
man.
that.
I'm your man.
To be honest with you, I hate movies like that.
I don't know. Apparently, it's doing well.
Yeah.
And we're keeping Nikki J off the board right now.
Prisoners of the Ghostland.
Oh, this is the Nick Cage pick. This is the Nick Cage film.
The Cage movie.
Oh, God, reviews.
What? No way.
No, there were no reviews as of yesterday.
Oh my God.
I think we can.
There were now reviews. There
What?
were no reviews yesterday.
I mean,
75% too.
I'm cool. This is true because we did look at this last night. I'll leave it to the league. I'm cool with letting it sit.
Do you want this one, Nikki J?
Yes.
I'm cool with leaving.
All
it.
right.
If
slide
the rest of the
If the league abides,
Because the score can change. It can go up or
it
down.
can go up or down.
unless people
75
protest,
is in
this
limbo.
your chance.
I'm okay with it.
Any protest will knock it out.
Go
JB, are
for
you cool
it.
with it? Are you sure?
Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean,
All right.
I don't
Because
think it's
as
gonna
of-
go up.
Because as of last night, when we were originally going to do this, the last day of August,
Neither JB.
Gabriel and I both looked at it, and it was pretty clear.
We did.
Can hear-
This was a point of conversation in our hour-long prep for a little behind-the-scenes info. I was like, you do know there's a Nick Cage film coming out in September. He's like, what? And I was like, yes, this one. And I sent the link, and there were no ratings. So this happened overnight.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of excited to watch this. I don't know if it'll be good or not, but I've loved the last handful of Nick Cage bonkers films.
Yeah.
I mean, Mandy, Color Out
Mandy
of
was
Space,
good.
Willy's Wonderland. I'm a fan of all three. So
Yeah, watch those. He always makes interesting movies. I'll give him that.
You gotta watch Mandy. You gotta watch Mandy.
I really kind of love the fusion of like the movie poster for this film.
Yeah,
It's
that's
almost
great.
like a fusion of like Mandy and Big Trouble in Little China.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's bizarre.
It is true.
But I'm down to watch this.
Yeah. Same.
Like no bones about it. So let's go ahead and slide
We'll give
that
it to you.
one.
And
That's
plus,
a
we
given
always-
positive points.
Yeah,
That's probably going to
putting
put
some
you ahead
points
of
in there.
me.
I'll put you in second.
I'm going to have
yeah.
to hope that the card counter does really well.
There you go. Jay already getting some points.
Guaranteed
from the
15
pickup.
points.
Done. For now. I mean, it could
For
go
now.
down. For now. All right, so JB, you're our last September pickup. There's only a few folks sitting on the bench, it seems. But You get one of them.
All right. Small engine repair.
Let's do our quick research. Releasing September 10th.
Do you have any familiarity with this one?
I've touched my engine and it's pretty small.
Okay. Well,
I don't know if it's the kind of thing you want to be saying on a podcast.
I don't know.
Hello,
Okay.
ladies.
no,
Hello, ladies. Small engine repair.
Okay.
No. We have no ratings. This is
Who's in
a
this
drama
movie?
comedy. John Bernthal.
Darren Bonthal.
John. I don't know who. Shea Wiggum, which I
I
do
don't know any of
recognize.
those people.
John Bernthal's in everything.
Right.
It's a
we
cult
see, yeah.
classic already.
Yeah,
Hey.
it's a cult classic in the making.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, I can smell it.
I could feel it.
Small engine repair.
I'm
Repair.
surprised nobody went with Cop Shop.
Is that what you want?
I did look at that
No.
one. That was not for me.
You know, I was hoping.
Didn't look appealing.
No, it does look appealing. But I thought somebody might go for Mr. Butler and Cop Shop there, but
Gerard Butler is not a proven commodity, other than he proves that he is very good at picking,
no,
films that probably aren't very good.
yeah, no. My hope was somebody would just be like, "Oh, okay, we got a name here." I'll go with
Gerard
it.
Butler,
But nobody.
the man who was the face of Geostorm.
Okay, so those our drafts have been updated.
I wish it was the car. The film
Sorry.
Geostorm, which, to your point, Lee,
Mhm.
I thought was absolutely hilarious that it was called Geostorm.
Storm.
To the point where literally the week before it came out, I was like, man, I really hope somebody takes the movie poster and photoshops a Geostorm, the
Nice.
car,
Yeah, of
into
course.
the movie poster. And I was like, if that hasn't been done, I want to do it. And then I did a quick Google search, and someone had already beat me to it. So it was very disappointing, but simultaneously
There's a movie
very
called
gratifying
Well,
to
the
know.
the internet lived up to its purpose for it.
The internet did its
course.
thing, and it doesn't always do its thing,
It rarely does.
but it really did do its thing that time.
Okay, so listen, let's move this thing along. We have some counter picks here out of these. Whew, this is stuff. Myself, Gabriel, Nikki J, and Lee in the reverse order will be picking up a counter pick based on these 7 picks. The trend of the night, Lee, as you know, you'll be going first. And to review the films in no particular order. I was just jotting them down on my
I
phone.
haven't done this. Okay.
So you're picking a counter pick. Remember, one that you think the audience will hate. And I know
Audience will hate. Okay.
we're operating in kind of murky territory. We don't know much. Our knowledge is limited, but that's how it was back in February.
We don't know much, but we know we love you.
Movies.
We know we love you.
So our 7 ones that
That's all we need to know.
I had
That's it.
I know.
I'm with you, Gabriel.
Picking up what I'm putting down,
So Lee, your choices.
coming in to clear the bases.
We have the card counter, Cry Macho, your own film bestsellers, which that's the Nikki J strategy at times. Pick your own movie for a counter pick. Card counter, Cry Macho, bestsellers, Dear Evan Hansen, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, Prisoners of the Ghostland, Small Engine Repair. One of those has to be your counter pick.
Okay. See, last time I picked my counter pick, I picked the one audiences would love because I thought that was a counter pick against what critics would love. That was my mistake.
Yeah, no,
But it's
what
actually what audience would hate.
That's right. You got to pick the
Okay.
one that the
Because
audiences are not gonna
And
like.
I lost
Yeah,
40.
they don't agree with the
points
critics.
because of
They don't
that
agree. They're
mistake.
countering to the critics.
Critics
opinion.
like,
Okay.
man, this is good shit, and audience is like, this is dog shit.
Yeah, we call it like
Okay.
the Magnolia effect.
I don't understand this
Okay.
film because I have a 6th grade education.
Gotcha.
Despite the fact I graduated from high school.
What is the Cry Macho one? I need to look at
That's
that.
Mr. Eastwood.
That's Mr.
Oh.
That's the
Eastwood.
one directed by a 91-year-old man.
Matcha green tea.
He might have been 90. He was probably 90 when he
He might
directed
have been,
it, to be
with
fair.
COVID, he might have been 89 when it was
It could have
directed.
been 89 when he directed. That's true. But either way, he was 89 or 90 when he directed it and also acted in it. And possibly
think-
forgot his lines.
Audiences are gonna hate either Cry Macho or the Ghostland one. Audiences will hate it because it'll be like Mandy artistic, and people that love movies will like it, but the normal everyday audience will hate it.
You know how people, if, about a decade and a half ago at this point, there was the McConaissance. I feel like we're right in the middle of the Cageaissance.
Yeah, we definitely are.
It's
That people are starting to love
it's
Nick
a
Cage.
recagery.
Oh, they're starting to really appreciate the entity that is Nick Cage, good or bad.
Okay.
They're like, love him, don't leave him.
So I'm gonna go with
This is a good. If
I
this
think other
was
people want. Okay, what?
this was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, the lights would be like going down, like
I know.
Yeah, like,
Maybe
you're right on
just
time.
pick
Shift
one.
down.
Just pick
You,
one.
you,
Just pick
you don't
one.
get a phone a friend here.
Okay, but people love Clint Eastwood, so the audience is gonna not like Clint
Liberals
Eastwood.
don't like Clint Eastwood after that whole I'm going to scream
good.
at
He
a
could
chair
get
at the
a-
Republican National Convention.
Uh,
That seemed like a good idea at
Yeah.
the time.
okay.
I will say he's moderated his opinions apparently a little bit.
Well, he
Yes,
used
he
to be
has.
a moderate, and then I think he had Alzheimer's for like a year,
Too
and
long.
then something happened.
Okay, but it could be his last movie.
I do love Gran Torino. It's like, get off my lawn.
Who's in? All right, one more question. Who's in Small Engine Repair?
John Bernthal and some other people.
Mark Wahlberg.
Okay.
He's not in it. Sorry.
All right, I'm gonna go with Small Engine Repair. The audience.
Small
is gonna
engine
It's a good
repair.
choice. Pick.
That's
Yeah.
probably a
Safe
good
pick.
counter pick.
Yeah.
I mean,
think that's
JB
the-
did pick it, so
I'm gonna say that was probably the best counter pick.
I think my brother's gonna text me about it later.
Dude, you
he's
gotta
gonna
see
say,
Small Engine.
dude, you got to see Small Engine Repair. Bernthal's amazing.
I would love. to
Thinking
hear a text from
there's
somebody.
a Clint Eastwood base is the problem. I don't care if he's liberal or not liberal or
Yeah.
whatever the hell he is now. You know,
I just
there's
think
still a Clint Eastwood fan base.
Listen,
Yep.
I love the counterpick getting in your head. It's
I don't
think
even
he's
know what Clint
trans-directorial-
Eastwood is
I think he's
politically.
trans-directorial at this point. It doesn't matter. Like
He's
he
binary.
wants, he
He's
just
binary.
wants to non-binary. as a director.
Non-binary. Non-binary.
As a director, he really just wants to be accepted for the art he puts out there.
And I think some people will just do that because he's been around so long. So I'm afraid to pick that one as an
No, I mean,
audience
yeah.
will hate.
I'm interested in seeing crime.
No,
All jokes
I
aside.
think that's going to be a good film.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be well received by audiences and critics. I'm not going to lie. I own the Clint Eastwood directorial box set from Warner Brothers. It has some truly fantastic films in it. I mean, his filmography is solid. You can't deny that. I mean, there were films he acted in, obviously, that were directed by Sergio Leone, but it's his body of directing work is solid.
Yeah.
Question is, doesn't it
The,
connect with the
He's a
folks,
classic. Yeah.
with the fans?
There's already a parody coming out about Cry Macho. It's called My Crotcho.
Oh, God.
All right, and with that, moving us along, Nikki J, you get a counter pick. We still have the card counter. Cry
He's
Macho,
usually-
bestsellers, Dear Evan Hansen, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, and Prisoners of the Ghostland.
I'm gonna say It's tough to say because it looks kind of interesting, but I'm gonna say sometimes biopics are kind of hit or miss. So I'm gonna go with Tammy Faye as my counter pick.
Ah, you son of a bitch!
Oh, yeah, because sometimes too those, it's Garfield's last film, Mainstream, did not do well at all, and
Never
Garfield.
saw it.
Well,
and
No,
with this,
I
It
think this
depends
is
on the
one.
generation for
Yeah.
Tammy Faye. I'm interested in the Tammy Faye thing, but that's my generation.
I think the thing here is keeping in mind that this is labeled as
A drama.
drama, and it is directed by Michael Showalter, and it has Jessica Chastain and Andrew Garfield in heavy makeup, portraying two of the most over-the-top televangelists of the last 40 years. This is a solid fucking pick.
Yeah.
As a counter pick, I don't think people are going to understand what is happening here because I think they're too far removed. But also, I don't know what Michael Showalter does with 2 hours and 6 minutes of Jessica Chastain and like this over the top makeup.